Hey guys, and we're back. So we're gonna finish the Gatsby node in this lesson, and hopefully everything will be wired up and ready to be pulling data from the template. So since we know that everything already works, and this is some test that I was realizing that I was doing, and I realized that it was needing, it was failing at this line of input right here. So we'll take care of that in a second. So don't worry too much about that. So, but we know everything else pretty much works. And this is where it's screaming at me. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that now. In the projects here, this make styles, it seems like it's already being imported in from make styles, as you see right here. And that's the mistake that I made, that I was importing it from both places. It was just kind of weird. I wouldn't really bring make styles from core. I would bring it from styles itself, but it works either way. It doesn't matter really where you bring it from, as long as you bring it once and not twice. So you can see everything works. However, we still have the problem that we don't get there by just simply going into the project. So if we go into the project itself, we won't really receive anything. So if we go to project here, we get nothing but a 404 because we got nowhere with it. However, the link itself is being propagated through our project. So if we go to the Apple computer, you get actually an endpoint that you'll land there with it. Okay, so but we have to inject some data in here that it can be used, and that needs to happen from two places. One, it needs to be served from here, from this promise, and then it needs to be picked up in here by using GraphQL, and then used in these places where you see content here and title here and title here. So it's got to be received in there. So first we got to serve it from here. So two things that we have to do to finish out serving our files here is we're gonna create this action here, right? We're gonna finish out with this action we're not really using. We're gonna create an action, and this action is gonna be to create the page. So it's basically gonna be exactly what I just said. So const and then between parentheses, between squarely brackets, we're gonna call the create page actually. We're gonna get a create page action equals to actions. Okay, and then now in the result, we're not going to need this console anymore. So this is the good thing about having colorizing brackets, right? Pair colorizer. You see this blue one over here, so that's the blue one here. This is the ending one, so I don't have to count brackets anymore. I can just tell you which one is the closing one that I need. So this is what you need right here to close up, and then right after the result, we are going to open up an object that is going to be coming back from that result response. So in the promise here, we're gonna make that the result, that data, that all WordPress pages. What the heck? How did I get up there? Control P, that's why. Oh yeah, WordPress post, not pages, posts. Okay, so that are all WordPress post. All WordPress post. Okay, so I'm following this basically, WordPress post. So yeah, that edges. Okay, and then we're here. So now what we need to do is that for each of these nodes, we need to create a page. So exactly like I said, for each, and that is an actual method that you can use. So in that for each, we're gonna create one edge for each one, and then we're gonna use fat arrow in here as well. And then in there, we're gonna create page. We're gonna bring this action. So for each edge, create this action. Okay, and then in the create page action, we're going to bring in a few things. So what are we gonna do? What are the items that we're gonna need to create the page with? Well, first of all, we're going to need a component of where it's going to go, where the page is going to go to. So this component is basically something you have already created, some path that you already established that is going to accept this data, and then there is going to be served. So we created these templates projects right here, right? And we're gonna use that same one. This is gonna be our receiving component. So you can do this in a separate. Well, the way that I like to do is I like to basically serve it from a constant, so that way it's not changing anywhere by accident. And I'll show you what that means. So project template, let's call it like that. Project template equals, and then path that resolve, and then in the resolve path we're gonna add the actual path, and the path to get there is gonna be the src there you go, templates projects ts. Alright, so here's what I'm saying here. Let me go ahead and minimize that. So here's what I'm saying here. You could do this in several ways. You could basically just inject this in here just like that, and everything is fine. It will inject that path result in here. Or you could store it into a variable, into a constant variable, and pass it into here like this. Okay, so why do I like this system better is because by saving this into a constant variable, and because of the way that the constant variables behave in ES6, in the new JavaScript, is this right here, the value of project template cannot be changed. So it's a protection, it's an extra line of protection that I'm using now to pass into this component, and this cannot be reassigned. I cannot use constant project template again. This will always be the value of this path right here. So it's adding a little bit of protection, so I don't end up overwriting myself or adding it to something else, whatever. So it's always a good thing to do whenever you can. All right, and so the next thing that we're going to be needing from here, besides that the path resolved, the component to the path resolved, is we actually going to need a path. Now, what the path means really is kind of like the URL. Like, what is the URL of this post, or not this post, this project going to be? So we're gonna actually do some string literals in here. So we're gonna put that in there, and then we're gonna put this base path here, project path, and then here we're gonna add the actual path to it from the GraphQL. So this darn thing, open, okay. So we're gonna bring edges node slug, okay, or edge rather, because we're not really using edges, we're using node slug, but the edge is gonna come from here. So we're gonna come from here, and we're gonna say edge node slug. I know I'm typing it wrong, but there's a point to this. All right, so obviously this is not gonna work, right? It needs to be in between brackets, and that alone is also not gonna work. Okay, first of all, that's not even part of the path. It needs to be in here so it could be part of the path. But as it stands like this, it's going to be taken as a string. So this is when you put the $sign in front of it, and then now you're making it, now you're using the binding property that you need to bind to this property value, while still keeping this as a string. So this is how you mix both together in a string literal, okay, using the $sign. All right, and then the last thing that you're going to need, so this right here should be enough to create the pages and actually pull the pages, but you're not going to actually pull any content inside the pages. You have to still address that issue. So, and you'll do that with context, and then inside of context you're going to pass the slug. The value of the slug is going to be the edge node slug. All right, and this here is pretty much the end of it, and go ahead and save that. Now there is a little bit more taken care of on our project end over here. Now we finished the way that it's being served. Now we're gonna do the way that it's being received. We're gonna pick the receive from here, and we're going to do that in our next video. So I'll see you on the next one.